What's up, guys? Want to make a quick video. I took little snippets. However, we should do like a talking video here. So right now we're in nature in the ocean. I found this spot out. I just kept walking. You guys are gonna see in the minute videos how I was over there, but we walked over here. We found this hole this side. And like, guys, man, so I mean, when this video comes out, that's the goal. I recorded videos all throughout the year, but I was always shy. However, coming out and traveling made me realize that there's really no reason to be shy. Like, there's 8 billion people in the world, and like, you might as well put yourself out there, because like, there's no reason to play small. Like, if you're living on this planet, remember, yo, your sperm cell, you beat out other millions of sperm cells. I'm over here ranting, yo. You beat a million other sperm cells to be able to come on this planet. And here's the other thing that I learned is governments, and I'm not saying governments are bad, because remember, governments are a third-party person. There's just people that are working in it. And what governments have done over these past years, for centuries and shit, is there's so much brainwashing that's going on. And before you guys click off, like, when I say brainwashing, you guys have to understand how everything works. Before you dismiss me by saying brainwashing, let me ask you, do you know how the economy works? Do you know how capitalism works? Is capitalism bad, or is capitalism wrong? Is inflation good, or is inflation wrong? Do you even know what inflation is? What is the percentage of inflation? Why does inflation occur? You have to ask yourself these questions, because when you understand these questions, or for the other people, understand, and if you hear understand, you're like, what the fuck does that mean? Stay tuned for more episodes, because the English dictionary, you guys got to think deeper, y'all. But then at the same time, it's not even about overthinking. It's just really thinking about, where did everything come from? What are the origins of everything? Like, because people are no different than you and I, yo. They're no smarter. Remember that quote by Steve Jobs, how he said, once you realize that people are no smarter than you, like, we're all people, yo. Like, inherently we're all the fucking same, but we're not at the same time, because each person has their own DNA and own thumbprint. So they have their own way to impact the world, because each person, we're a human civilization. We can't live in isolation, because humans need each other. We need each other for that compassion and to take care of each other. However, if you leave it to the media of the world, they have everybody fighting each other off of each other's differences. And let's ponder on this. When we think about the differences that everybody has, if you were to know that everybody's different by 1%, how silly would you think that all the things that are going on in the world, like, are people arguing about differences and shit, and like, our DNA are 99% similar? Well, I mean, that could be different after the whole, the shots that came out a few years ago, you know, because that mRNA, it affects the DNA system, and that's a whole nother video that we could do. I actually recorded videos like that, but I was shy. I remember I posted that back in like 2021. Motherfuckers got sensitive shit, so niggas was a pussy. But guess what? We back now, because being in this country and traveling, it really made me realize that, like, yo, like, if you actually do the work and you study and you do your own research and you have conviction in your research and you put those hours in, then, like, I'm speaking to myself, but then also whoever watches this video, because I know, like, if you're something like me, you do a lot of studying. And when I mean studying, like, you study economics, numerology, like the spiritual side. You study everything that there is in the world that you kind of feel drawn to, because if you remember what I said earlier, how us humans need each other. Each human has their own talents and their own tastes and their own likes, which is amazing, because that means that person goes into that field and masters that field. So then he learns everything that has to do in that specific topic, that he brings back that information and he teaches his people so they can live better lives. And because in the world that there's so many things that you can do in the world, it's imperative that each person goes on their own path and then is able to bring that back to the community to provide value, because there's so much information in the world, so many topics, that you can't do everything. There's a paradox to that, because you can do everything that you want to do if you utilize your calendar and set up a time system. And what I mean by that, here's a quick actionable step that you guys can do. If you guys want to study a lot of things, and we only have a finite amount of time on this world, it's important that you break that into like sections. So use the 12-week year, where using each quarter, you master each. All right, let's say you want to learn about stocks, right? 2025 is coming up. Take January and March to study strictly stocks. Be immersed in that. And then after that, those 3 months, then you want to set a maintenance plan where maybe you're only studying stocks 20 to 30 minutes or very like 15 minutes, but it's very calculated, where it's like every day, like micro strategies, micro minutes, where it's like you're still perfecting that skill, but then you add another pillar. So it's like you have different pillars of blocks. What are you focusing on? And remember, you can get audiobooks, there's fucking research, they have all these newspapers, there's AI coming out nowadays. Like, yo, you have to master, you have to get out of your laziness. And each human being is lazy. I myself, a little bit, an origin story of myself is, when I graduated high school, I played 4 years of varsity. I was a 1,000-point scorer my junior year. I left my small town school to go play at a top high school, the Patrick School, which at the time when I was on the team, I think we were like 24 in the nation or 23, something like that. And like, when I got there, like realizing, looking back, my hometown, this is for the people that really it means to, is like people in your hometown may have, you ever read the book Outwitting the Devil, Drifters? Sometimes that hypnotic state when you're growing up, it makes you want to, like, feeling lazy is like normal. I remember growing up, I'd get up at 6 a.m. like it was nothing. When I was at sleepovers, I looked over to my buddy and he's still sleeping, and I thought something was wrong with me. And I'm here to tell you, whoever's watching this, if you're a little bit like me, nothing's wrong with you, man. You're just here to do great things. And great things is very subjective, because it's like, you have the pen to your book. You and God, your creator, whoever you guys believe in, it's you and that person, you guys are co-creating. And the main thing is to be able to create things that are a betterment for society and betterment for the generation that are coming ahead of us. Because it's our responsibility, it may not be your responsibility, it's really what you choose to do with your life. But whatever you do, remember, before you were here, 7 generations before, there was people that were making decisions that are now affecting your life now. And it is up to you, whatever those trauma, I know a big thing, people nowadays talk about mental health, and it was unfortunate. One of my middle school coaches that we won a championship with, he actually passed away. He committed suicide. That was very hard to hear, because I almost did that shit a few months ago. Could do another video about that, but that's a whole nother story. Anyways, so this whole, you just got to be there for each other, but a lot of it's about being there for yourself and not falling into the propaganda that society has put onto us and normalized. Because if you realize whatever is normal ain't good for people, it's making people sick and all this shit. But at the same time, that's a whole nother topic, because you got to look into studying the regulations. How did all these regulations, how did all these departments come into place? Like, what we know as society now, how did this all come? Like, what happened? What decisions were made? You guys have to do your research. And you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Not a lot of people do their research. So I'm thinking about creating content of the research to teach you guys, so you guys can go do your own research. Because it's imperative that we know what the fuck is going on. And I hope they don't demonetize this video for me cursing. Because it's like, y'all know what I'm saying? But anyways, I've been ranting. I don't know what the topics of this video are going to be. Those all over the place. I'm just free talking. We're on the beach right now, enjoying the sun. But it's just times like these, in the moments, you gotta just appreciation. Be where your feet are at. So I'm gonna be honest with you, I've never really been where my feet are at. So learn from me on the pursuit of greatness. Enjoy where you're at, And here's the last take. Focus on your quadrants of life, because a mistake that I made is after high school, and then I just started, like they say, grinding, just working on yourself and building. And I neglected friends. But at the same time, you guys should tune into Andy Frisella. He's one of my mentors, him and Ed Milet. They had a point where it's like, sometimes you got to make that sacrifice. And, busy people, I don't like using the word busy, because everybody says they're busy. And busy, the really main thing, busy doesn't mean shit. You want to be productive, because productive, if you look at the root word of productive, producing, production. That is what the nation was built on, production. And what the fuck is busy? Busy is nothing, yo. Busy is just your time being eaten, time being taken away, time wasted. I've ranted. That could be a whole nother video. But we're 10 minutes into this video. Whoever watches to the end, hey man, I hope this was beneficial to you. Hope you guys enjoy the view. And remember, y'all, here, I'll leave you guys on this last note. I told you guys how I play at the Patrick School. Let me tell you, celebrities, like athletes, when I met Kyrie Irving, I was fucking starstruck. You guys could probably see the picture here if it's like edited into this. When I first met him, I was starstruck. The second time, I was like, oh, okay. And then the third time, that was the last time we hooped together, because then that was the end of the summer before we went into training camp. It was just like, yo, like, he's a human being. He just dedicated himself to his craft for long hours. And that is really the key to life, is time in the game. You know, there's AI that's going to be able to shorten the time span. However, you can't cheat the time in the mastery. However, to quicken up the time that it takes to do things, what you can do is to be more efficient and more strategic in your strategy, where it's like you got to do more deep focus work, because you got to be able to utilize more of your brain power if you want to excel and do that at a quicker pace. Anyways, that is a YouTube video for today. I hope y'all have a blessed day or a blessed night whenever y'all tuning in, and I hope this was productive for you. Have a good one. Have a blessed one, guys.